Good afternoon, all. Camelback Trading 2724 coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, November 20th. And we're looking at the last 4 days in the market profile on the SPY ETF. And I guess the bears got to be a little bit happy with themselves as they finally stopped the one-time framing up for 4 days, filled one gap, but buyers come roaring back to stay above that previous 6 or 9 day balance. So basically, we're in a 4 day balance now. We do have a trend day down that holds, but the way this market closed and the way it acted, you would think the bulls were winning. As far as opportunities today, started out as a pretty quiet day with a very tight range. With the Fed minutes coming, I thought that's why it was slow. Got myself in trouble early again. Did nothing in A period. B period. Took out A's low. Took out yesterday's low, but it didn't take out the 18th low, and I figured that would be a layup. So when we rallied right before B period was getting started to get back into A, I thought there's no way we're not going to get the 18th low. So I shorted it. Boy, was I wrong, as B period just continued to rip higher. So I put myself in a hole early instead of getting out of that trade. I started added to it with some really good size in C and D. Now, even though we were one time framing up, a couple things. And again, I'm not saying this is the right trade. I should have been out of that trade when B got accepted back into A out. But the reason I stayed in it and added, we had lower value at the time. It wasn't as low as it ended today, but it was lower all day. I did not think we would get a trend day with the Fed minutes coming. So that's why I added, and it turned out to be a good trade as I was down a lot, got it all back in more, got out of it. Basically, when we got back down to POC, I believe it was in D period. Then I escaped the disaster because now we had a rotational day, basically, as we were in A through F, as we were 6 wide. I was like, okay, it's rotational, so there's a good chance we'll stay that way until 2 o'clock when the Fed minutes come out. Well, G period came down, took out B's low, and it was just hanging there, and I was literally probably seconds away from buying a call because I figured we should get back into the range and back to POC. When, again, another little headline about the trade deal, and it flushed out. So I escaped a disaster by mere seconds. Did nothing during this whole time. What I did, the next trade I took was in J so H had, we had 2 sets of singles. We had G's and we had H. But then when I filled G's and I couldn't take out the low of the day, you knew something had changed there. So when J started, and that couldn't even get down to G's low, about 5 or 6 ticks below I's high, I thought there was a good chance we'd stop the one-time framing up and test the single prints. I got long, and that's exactly what it did, and got out basically around, I guess it was around J's high. So that was a nice trade. And then I did one other trade. I took a short Nell. It was a decent trade. I was looking. I really thought if L took out K's low, we can test at least G and J's low. Well, it took it out by 2 ticks and went back up. So I had taken the short around here. I had taken some off. I was ready to add on to it. I didn't, luckily, because then we came out and I got out. And that was basically it on the day. So it was a good day. Again, a rough start that I got myself out of trouble. All right. Destinations for tomorrow. So on the upside, first one will be the single prints. So we still had a trend day down. 310.93 they start and get filled at 311.07. So they're only 14 cents. They were very large when that first started. Then we have 311.82, which is today's high. 311.98, 11 wide from the 19th. 312.69 daily high, all-time high. And then 313.13, the pre-market all-time high. Now on the downside, and this is where, even though the bulls rallied and did a really good job of it, your downside destinations are getting far and wide apart. So until you get more market-generated information during the day, you can get some pretty good chop, especially tomorrow, because of that. Our first destination, now we closed at 310.81. My first destination is the day's low of 309.06. So $1.75 away is your first destination on the downside. Then below that, you don't have anything to 308.09, so another dollar lower. Then you don't have anything to 307.66, and then 307.27, which is the weekly low. And that's the next step that the bears want to attack to stop the one-time framing up in the weekly. They just did it in the daily today. So, yes, a very nice recovery by the bulls, but the trend day still held. Value is lower. Your destinations are pretty far and wide. So I guess you could use C's high of 309.99 as an important level because that's the top of that previous 6-day balance. And then on the charts, so the monthly still healthy, right? One time framing up and an outside month up. Weekly, one time framing up 6.5 weeks. See if they can continue that. And then the daily, we went from up one time framing up to balance, right? Markets don't go bull bear. They go bull, and now we're in balance again. So you could use the low of today if you want and the top of the all-time high. I would use that as a 4-day balance right now. We stayed, even though we got into this 6 or 9 day balance, we closed above it. If we closed inside of it, then I would have encompassed basically everything as a balance. But since we closed above it, I'll use just this as a 4-day balance. So today's low and the all-time high. Hope you had a good day trading today. Have a great night, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.